Danielle Conway, I'll get it right.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, who intimidates me now. She didn't intimidate me before, but now she intimidates because she's a dean, you know. And if, you know, the faculty members in a law school, they intimidate you. Well, the dean intimidates you a lot more. Hi, Dean.
I'm here to intimidate away. Hello, Jay.
So the piece is, and the important piece is that here in Life in the Law, and actually Danielle was the host of Life in the Law.
You gave me
from the inception of it.
You gave me my start.
I gave you your start. Well, we gave you your start. But the point is, you were the host of this show. You created this show.
Oh, thank you.
You did.
You were the brainchild. I just implemented it.
And now full circle, she's back. But where has she been is the question. And that is the revelation. That is the big news. That's what we're going to talk about today. So, Danielle, in a word,
yes.
Where have you been?
Oh, I've been on a sojourn. That's it. I've been traveling and moving and learning and experiencing and developing relationships and getting ready for this next adventure in my life.
Well, tell us about life up till now.
Okay.
And then tell us about now.
So I left here in August, and I was going to
Left here means that she was teaching at the William S. Richardson School of Law for several years.
Let's say 15.
Let's say 15. That'd be several years.
That's a lot of years.
Yeah.
Like a decade and a half.
Yes, wow. And I met you early on, didn't I?
You
met
met
you
me
early 2000s.
Yeah, I think you met me the second month I was here in town.
I remember, yeah.
And we've been friends ever since.
Yes, we have.
But yes, I was teaching at the William S. Richardson School of Law, teaching intellectual property, government contracts, innovation, all kinds of courses like that.
And you were an innovative teacher, too.
I believe.
I remember seeing you do that. And the students loved you here.
I believe I have some skills.
I believe you do.
So I was here, and I was getting my bones here. I was making my skill set.
And writing books that thick.
Writing really big books. And I visited other places. I visited GW in 2006. I was a visitor in Australia and a Fulbright Senior Scholar.
Wow, that was great.
Had a great time. And I actually did a stint, a 3-week stint at the University of Maine School of Law. I was teaching licensing intellectual property.
This will become very relevant in a moment.
In a moment. And so from that 3-week experience, I said, wow, I've never been to Maine, and what a fabulous place. I had a great time. Then I came back here to teach, and I got the Michael J. Marks Distinguished Professorship of Business Law, and I worked a few more years teaching wonderful students.
But you kept on thinking
about
Maine.
But I was thinking about Maine. But more than that, I was thinking about what's going to be the next stage of my career. And I was trying to figure out what I should be doing, and should I be doing more? And that's what kept gnawing at me.
What is a legal teaching career like? You know, it's different than practice.
It is.
It's in the ivy-covered halls and whatnot. What's it like, and what's the career pattern that people go through?
First of all, teaching law is a privilege. Teaching is a privilege. But being a law professor is so cool.
You heard it here on ThinkTech.
It is the best job in the world.
Why?
You get to be with young people who have ideas and who have creative thoughts and solutions to the world's problems. And you get to nurture them through their learning phase. And you get to help those ideas blossom into reality. It is a high. It is an absolute high.
Yeah.
And it's something I absolutely am privileged to do.
Great.
And
Wonderful.
And now
Wonderful.
I'm privileged to do something else.
Yeah, I wish you'd been my teacher in law school, honestly. If we could only go back.
We can never go back.
No, we can't go back, no.
We're not going back.
Okay, so what's the relationship of teaching,
Right.
administration, deanship? How does that work?
So in a law school or most institutions of higher education, you need an operations piece to make it all work. So faculty members are on the front line. They're delivering the pedagogy. They're doing the scholarship. They're staying relevant in their fields, and they're making sure that they are at the forefront of their fields for the benefit of their students. That's what faculty do.
And the school.
And the school, yes.
The school is measured by how much, I hate to
You
say
know,
this, how much they publish,
many,
the big books
but
they
we're
write.
we're actually changing that, right?
Okay.
And I think it's a good change. I think it's a great change for the future. A lot of people now are thinking about scholarship in a more accessible way. They're calling it applied scholarship.
What's that?
Applied scholarship is taking what we have learned from extensive investigation, thinking, and then writing about those things, and seeing how they impact the world, seeing how what you think up the day before impacts somebody the next day. And so instead of writing for other scholars or writing for just an intellectual audience, the concept is applied scholarship is meant to be released on the ground and to have impact larger and wider than the educational institution.
I see it. This really puts the law school out front.
Exactly.
Changes the society.
That's exactly right. And we make ourselves accessible. If we really believe in the rule of law and we really believe in being contributors to a society, a more perfect society,
Yeah.
then the law has to be out front, accessible, and available to everybody.
Organic.
I like it. I like it.
Okay.
So that's the wonderful thing about being a faculty member. Now, what administrators, in my opinion, are meant to do is to facilitate that same process.
Yeah, right.
And you know, I'm going to say this on air. I believe that administrators work for, that's an important word there, for the faculty, the students, and the institution.
To facilitate
To
all of the things.
facilitate everything I just said.
And to allow them that kind of organic engagement with the community and with our society.
Exactly. You want an experience in higher education to look seamless. You want it to feel orchestrated. Well, you don't want to show people how the sausage is made. You want to be, as an administrator, the person behind the scenes who makes it look seamless, who makes it look like a beautiful orchestral experience.
Yeah.
That's the kind
an
of
element in the community.
That's right.
A part of the structure of the community.
Exactly.
Intellectually.
Exactly.
So now you're traveling around the country.
Mm-hmm.
You're teaching hither and outside
Hither
the
and there,
country,
yes.
hither and
wherever.
Australia even.
Yes.
And you see, these basic formulae about faculty and administrators and deans, and then you begin to get these notions that you've just been talking about. Notions is not heavy enough. These truths, these self-evident truths that you find.
Right, exactly.
And you begin to say, it wouldn't be so bad if I were a dean.
Well, I think I have a particular temperament that allows for that facilitation I talked about. And so having all these wonderful experiences, just coming off of visitorship at the University of Florida, being there in that institution, which is absolutely fabulous, I was able to see exactly what I could bring to the table as an administrator. And all the places I've taught, I've had pretty good experiences with administrators and picked up wonderful things that they do to facilitate this learning. And so I said, I think I want to take a crack at that.
What's the ethic in the country, though? In the world, for that matter? When you go around and you see these different schools, is that principle of integration into the community, of being a part of the community, of engaging in the community and raising up the community, was that everywhere or only in some places? In
a very few places, and it's a little bit disappointing when you think about the Wisconsin model of higher education. What that stood for was making higher education available to anyone who wanted it.
It's a good model.
It's a really good model.
It helps everyone, actually.
And you see from many newscasts on CNN and all these other shows where they're actually doing these documentaries on how unaffordable higher education is, how it's beyond so many people. And so there's this contrary approach to that Wisconsin model. And that is another reason why I stepped into administration, because I really believe in that Wisconsin model. Anyone who wants an education.
And the
Should have access to
administration,
it.
the deans can deliver that.
Those
You're in
are
a
the
position, you
those
have
are
the
the
leverage.
people who are responsible
Yeah.
for delivering
Yeah.
that, right?
Well, I mean, let me add a thought and see if you agree.
Mm-hmm.
And we can talk about this in greater detail. It's philosophical. Is that
Yeah.
a country with better educated people is a better country,
Yes.
and a legal system with better educated lawyers is a better legal system.
Lawyers-
That's simple.
Lawyers and lay people.
Okay, fair enough. Right.
Lawyers
Because law
and lay
schools can
people.
teach lay people.
Exactly.
You knew this.
I did. I felt this. It's so important. And, law has such a complementary role to history. And so we need to be able to connect those who have experienced history with those who have yet to experience it. And that's part of
Bringing the
educational
generations
together, exactly.
I always complain about the draft. I'll tell you why.
Why?
Because people don't have the draft. They don't go into the Peace Corps. They don't do national service.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time they're finished with school, they don't know what the country is.
Mm-hmm.
There was something in the paper this morning. Some fellow said, I don't like paying taxes. I really hate paying taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he probably hates being, involved in the structure, the fabric of the country, too.
Right.
Because nobody ever told him he's really part of it, like it or not.
Exactly.
And law
Exactly.
schools help you do that.
They help you connect the dots. They
Yeah.
really do. And then you get this sense of belonging to a really important fraternity. And I've talked about this, a fraternity of frontline fighters for those who can't fight for themselves.
Absolutely. And this makes for a better society.
Exactly.
So, you're not, your views are not particularly lofty, are they?
They are not big at all. These are basics.
Okay, so this begins to form in your head. You begin seeing this in your travels, and something happens
Yes.
that leads you down this path
Yes.
to the state of Maine, to
Yes.
Bangor, Maine.
Not Bangor, but we are actually the University of Maine School of Law, where I'm now the dean, dean designate. I'll be dean July 1st.
Okay.
But we're in Portland,
Portland,
Maine.
Maine. Portland's the bigger capital
It's
city.
the financial and business
Okay.
center of the state.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just didn't remember that.
That's all right. But Bangor is where our flagship campus is.
I'm going to know a lot more about Maine.
After
now,
this.
knowing you're there. You might even see
Exactly.
me pop up on your doorstep
I would
one
love
day.
that. That would be fabulous.
It's
Get your
beautiful
snowshoes.
in the fall. Okay, so you decide that, maybe you're going to take a whack at this. Tell us the process so we can all be deans.
Okay, so here's the blueprint for being a dean. So you get very, very expert at what you do, and that's teaching, because that's the heart of it, teaching and the students you teach. You have to be so good at that so you can appreciate what that's all about. And then the second thing that you do is you do your due diligence, and you decide, based on that due diligence, what's going to be a good fit for you? Where are people's values as close to yours?
You want to be comfortable every day. You want it to fit
Exactly.
right.
Right.
And the third thing, before you get to the real third thing,
Right.
the third thing, at least as far as I'm concerned, is you got to take a break.
You do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
We're
took
gonna take
a break.
now.
Okay, let's take a break.
You didn't know that was coming.
That was very good.
Danielle Conway, the dean designate of,
Yes.
The Maine Law School in Portland. It was established in 1962. She is the 7th dean of the Maine Law School. She's the first African-American woman who has been dean of the Maine Law School, and she's the second woman who has been dean of the Maine Law School. You should know that. Okay, here we are on Life in the Law, her own show. She's visiting back to tell us what's really going on out there. And what's the title of this? Law Professor to Dean, the transition.
That's it.
We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Ethan Allen. I host Likeable Science on ThinkTech Hawaii, and I do this because I care about science literacy in Hawaii. I want to spread the understanding that science is a vital and interesting part of everyone's life. I want to make sure the broadest possible spectrum of people understand the beauty and the value of science and realize that science plays out each and every day of their lives. I want you to understand that science is fun. So we bring onto this show each week guests who are scientists, from astronomers to zoologists, and we talk about what they do and how they do it. But most importantly, we talk about why you should care about their work, why you should see that their work has value and impact on your life. So I hope you'll join us Fridays, 1 p.m. here on ThinkTech Hawaii. You can watch us via live stream. You can watch us recorded on Olelo, and you can see us each week. We hope you'll join us.
Okay, that's Danielle Conway. She's Dean of the Maine Law School. She's here. She's honoring us with a return visit here to the very table, you know, that she conducted these shows herself, not 8 months ago. Okay, and I interrupted her. She said there were a number of things that you had to consider in making the transition and getting into a deanship. And she got through 2 of them until I told her the third one was taking a break. And she was very
But that was actually
agreeable about
that was actually good, because
okay.
I think that should be part of the formula, taking a break.
Okay.
Right? So that you can get a really good bird's eye view of where you think you should be and where you'll make the most impact. So I like that break part. I think that was great.
You incorporate that, okay? Consider it incorporated.
Yeah, and then finally, it's having your own platform, knowing what it is you want to accomplish as a, let's just be real, a middle manager, because that's what a dean is. The dean is a middle manager. There are people above the dean. There are people who have to do the work, the heavy lifting. So as a middle manager, what is it that I want to achieve? What is it that I want to accomplish? And how do I do that? Actually collaborating with other departments and other deans around me, all for the benefit of the students.
Yeah, okay, so you have to establish a kind of official persona.
You really do.
You become a public official.
That's exactly right.
And you know, it strikes me that the role of a dean vis-a-vis the whole university on top of you is different when you're the dean of a law school.
It is.
It's different than, the dean of the English department or something. It really is different.
It is different.
Why is it different? How is it different?
Well, it's different at different institutions, but it's different in the Maine, if I can use that word. So
Remember the Maine.
Remember the Maine. But at different institutions, you have various professional schools. Well, at the University of Maine, we have the one professional school, and that is the law school. So we don't have a medical school like the University of Hawaii has a medical school. We don't have that component, and so you are special. And you're special, I think, for this reason. A professional school like a law school has a much broader constituency. A law school has the bench, it has the bar, the lawyers who come before the state and ask for admission. It has constituencies around the university in terms of other schools that feed into the law school. And it has constituencies that we've talked about, lay people. So it has many more constituencies that it has to respond to. And that's what makes a law school special. And that's what makes graduate professional schools.
Yeah, but it also influences. I mean, for example, if there's anything like Hawaii, you look, I mean, I'm assuming that a lot of the judge jobs in the state of Maine are fed by Maine Law School.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
And then, of course, politicians are most often lawyers.
That's exactly
so a lot of the politicians are also, and
Mm-hmm.
government management, is largely lawyers, and they're going to be out of the law school. So the law school is center, in the, may I say, the power structure in the state of Maine.
Exactly. I've really had time to articulate this thought, and the thought is that a law school, particularly the only law school in a state and the public law school in a state, is the conscience of the community. Because it's here where we set the value norms, it's here where we set the parameters of appropriate behavior, and it's here where we actually teach the people about enforcement and proper enforcement with due process in mind. So we really are the conscience of the community.
And the bar. And the bench.
That's right.
I remember, John, we have this program called Living Legend Lawyers. You must have heard about it. And one of our early programs involved John Jubinski, and he said, I think the law school ought to criticize the sitting bench all the time. When they make a mistake, when they don't do the right thing in a given case, let them have it.
That's right.
Somebody from the law school should say something, because what did you say before? We are the conscience
Exactly.
of the whole episode.
Exactly right. And we should be very earnest about criticizing ourselves as well when we're not living up to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a big deal. This is a big deal. Where now in the state of Maine, let's do the demographics.
Okay.
This is like the thing on NPR where he says, let's do the numbers.
We're going to run the numbers.
Okay, the state of Hawaii has 1.4 million people.
That's correct.
All islands.
That's correct.
The state of Maine has 1.3 million people, so it's smaller than Hawaii. You wouldn't think that because it's way older in its own way than Hawaii, but it's smaller than Hawaii.
Exactly.
And the ground area covered by the state of Maine, which is, you know, all land,
Yes.
is what we say, 35,000
square miles.
The ground area of Hawaii is 10,000 square miles. So
Exactly.
we're actually 1/3 the size in land mass.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And that's really important for a state like Maine. There are many similarities that Maine shares with Hawaii, but then there are really stark differences.
Yeah.
And one of the stark differences is just the dispersion of people. There are so many rural communities that are left without legal services because of their distance. There are so many communities there that actually border on international borders, so Canada.
All right, sure, on the Canadian border.
Exactly. A large swath of it.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so you have to think about the cultural implications of that. And you actually may have a cultural collaboration with people in the northern part of Maine who identify
as French.
As French or Canadian. Exactly. They share cultural norms.
Yeah.
Whereas the most southern part of the state, where Portland is, has a very metropolitan feel, being only 1.5 hours from Boston.
Yeah. So it's really part of the New England
disparate
corridor there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I think the challenge for the conscience of the community, the law school, is understanding those disparate circumstances and being responsive to it. You know, Hawaii has a wonderful, I think, cultural normative center. And it's rooted in the language, it's rooted in the reverence for indigeneity, it's rooted in fundamental connections to place. And Maine has something similar, but it is
not the same.
It's not the same. It is its own place. And it's a beautiful place, and I think it's a wonderful puzzle, and I'm really excited about trying to figure it out.
Yeah, well, while you're figuring it out, you can have some Maine lobster.
Oh, it's delicious.
It's everywhere.
I've been eating a lot of lobster, as they say.
So, okay, so here we are, and it's different. And that means there are different issues, right?
Yes.
You mentioned before we began the show that, you know, there's a lot of forest, a lot of natural beauty in Maine, indeed, you know, probably the nicest part of New England, because it's not well settled, if I can say that.
Exactly.
So the question, so that's environment. You know that environment is going to be very important.
Yes.
You know a lot of people who live in Maine are going to be caring about that. So, I mean, maybe that's similar to Hawaii about caring for the environment. But what other issues do you expect you'll be dealing with, the law school will be dealing with, you know, in its engagement with the everyday, you know, activities, everyday life in the state of Maine?
So the things I think this law school, University of Maine Law School, is going to deal with is charting a path for the future in the way that it connects with technology and innovation, considering the importance of environment. There's also the fishing contingency there, the constituency, and lobster. And so there is a large group there that's committed to that, and there's a balance between environment and fishing and business enterprise. And so that's going to be something important to navigate. I'm really excited about that because I'm very excited about aquaculture and innovation in agriculture and fisheries. So there is that. And then I think another challenge for us specifically at the law school is to think about the new makeup of Maine. Maine has been
Demographically.
Exactly. Maine has been identified as a refugee relocation location. So it's wonderful to see these past 20 years of influx of immigrants, mostly from Northern Africa, in Maine. So a state that was once described as the whitest state in America, you can go to Maine, and I may be just self-identifying, but I promise you, I feel like every third person is African. And so I think a wonderful challenge is going to be how to weave this new cultural fabric together to create a fabulous mosaic with all of these identities coming together.
See how much you can do. Really, it's just enormous, all these things to work with. And Hawaii, if I can say, Hawaii is the perfect place.
It's been great preparation.
Right, to prepare for all of this.
Exactly, it's been great preparation.
You come ready.
I come ready. I'm amped.
So you said before that every applicant has a platform.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Every dean applicant has a platform.
Make me the president of the University of Maine. What's your platform,
Oh,
Danielle?
good, because I just did this with our president. He's the chancellor, Chancellor Page, at University of Maine, Orono, and he came to my office and said, I want to hear your ideas because I'm hearing from other people that they're really good. So he sat in my office, and I told him what I'm about to tell you. I said, we need to have a holistic approach to training lawyers and industry leaders. And that approach has to transform the present program of legal education. That means we have to start much earlier intervening into the lives of our prospective students. We have to be there in front of them in the high schools. We have to be present as they go through undergraduate school. We have to provide opportunities once they enroll. We have to let them know the minute they enroll, they have employment opportunities. And then we have to think about innovation in our education, our program of legal education. We have to give them innovation at every stage of the law school process. And so I have already started a pipeline program where I'm going to the inner city high schools and inviting them to come to the law school, to view our moot courts, to participate in our student bar association activities, to be part of our various clubs and programs that the students are leading, and then to begin to forge mentor-protege relationships with our law students. In essence, I'm borrowing from my innovation and technology background to speak to digital natives in their own language. I want the digital natives of our 1L, 2L, 3L class to talk to the digital natives in high school and tell them why this is a good thing to do. You know, I had another experience, and I'll divert from my other, the components of my vision. I got to Maine, and I wanted to see what every facet of Maine was like. And so I got an invitation from the NAACP to visit the Warren State Penitentiary. So I had heard before I got there that Maine is a largely white state. I go to the penitentiary with the NAACP. They have a chapter there in the prison. And I walk into the prison, and oh my God, I said, here's where all the black people are. I couldn't believe it. Exactly. It was horrifying. It really was. And so I thought about this, you know, I was angry, I was upset, but I thought about it and I said, you know, I need to turn this around. And we have pipeline to prison programs everywhere. I was just listening to something on the radio today about international prison construction companies wanting to do business in Western nations. Well, we don't need to produce any more product for the prison infrastructure. What we need to do is produce product for the education infrastructure. And so I was glad I did that. I wasn't happy personally, but I was glad I did that because I listened to those prisoners and they sound, if you close your eyes, Jay, they sounded like 1L law students speaking and talking about the book we were talking about and the documentary we were viewing. And so I said, no, we need to change the narrative. We need to get a whole new narrative, and we actually need to intervene, not offer people to come visit us. We need to intervene in high school students' lives and show them the opportunities that they have before them.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's way beyond the ordinary concept.
It was way, I think it is.
That's great.
I think it
We're going
is.
to take a break. I have to
Okay.
recover from that.
Okay.
But then we'll get back to your vision.
Then we'll get back to my vision.
Okay. Wow. Danielle Conway, the dean designate, but soon to be dean of the Maine Law School in Portland, Maine, which was established in 1962, and she's going to add to that tradition by leaps and bounds. Here, life in the law professor to become dean. You'll see. We'll be right back.
This is Alice Lee Hagan, host of ThinkTech Hawaii Business Education Spotlight. My show here at ThinkTech Hawaii is every Thursday from 3 to 4 in the afternoon. I bring in interesting guests from Hawaii, the mainland, and hopefully international guests in the future. Do join us on Thursday from 3 to 4 p.m. ThinkTech Hawaii Business Education Spotlight. Aloha.
Inspired by an ancient culture, classical Chinese dance, vigorous physicality, timeless stories, 5,000 years of Chinese music and dance. Shen Yun presents authentic Chinese culture. Coming to Blaisdell Concert Hall, May 8th and 9th. Tickets at shenyun.com or call 808-792-3919.
Aloha, my name is Josh Green. I'm a senator from the Big Island in the ER position. Every other Tuesday, I get to host a show here on the ThinkTech program about healthcare. We call it Healthcare in Hawaii. It's really enjoyable for me to bring other healthcare leaders from around the state to talk about our pressing issues. Hawaii has long been the health state, but we need to keep up the momentum, the inertia, and with your help and with your participation, we can come and share all of the big issues that are pressing day to day. Thanks for joining us every Tuesday, alternating weeks from 2 to 2:45.
Sorry you weren't around for the break, but that's the way it goes here on ThinkTech. We're going to try to recapture the break now live.
Okay.
Okay, it's Danielle Conway. She's the dean designate of the Maine Law School in Portland, Maine. Here on Life in the Law, law professor becomes dean. So, talking about, you know, the leadership position that you are creating, you will create in Maine, as part of a whole new paradigm around law schools and deans and legal education in this country. So, in your absence over the past 8 months, the under Justice Rechtenwald,
Who is fabulous.
who is very good. Yeah,
Yes.
he's sitting in this chair, by the
He's
way.
fabulous.
He's been down here.
Yeah.
He really is, and such a nice guy.
Exactly, a gentleman.
And he was also good when he was directing DCCA.
He's DCCA, exactly.
really
That's when
good.
I first met him.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. So he decides he wants to, with involvement from the law school, involvement from the DOE, he takes the Supreme Court out to Kealakehe High School, which is in Kona there, up the hill, Mauka. It's a huge, big high school, and he
Right.
conducts the Supreme Court hearings up there.
Exactly.
And these kids come in coat and tie, and
Exactly.
they love it. They are now involved, your word, invested in the system. They can breathe it, touch it, feel it, see it, understand it, and
Exactly.
changes everything when that happens.
Exactly. It just changes the landscape.
Yeah.
And I'm sure this will happen from our law school leadership here at the William S. Richardson School of Law. But those types of early investments have to be stewarded. You know, you
Yeah.
have to keep them going, and there has to be a defined stewardship of those relationships.
Yeah. Because, you know, I mean, you can do it or not do it, but you're going to do it. You're going to take that vision and expand it to the entire community, to
Exactly.
the state of Maine, 1.3 million people.
That's
now.
right. 100,000 less than Hawaii.
It's possible. It's doable.
It
You know,
is.
this is 2015. We can do this.
Well, that's what's so wonderful about the fit between me and Maine. So I got my training here in Hawaii, and now I'm deployed out to Maine.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I like that.
yeah, and it feels right. The fit feels great, and it's manageable and it's doable. It's like a laboratory, and you can actually experiment. And when you have success, they're great successes.
Yeah.
When you have failures, which there will be failures, they're minute compared to what you learn in negative know-how that you can then turn around and do it right the next time. And so a smaller state, larger geography, But a smaller state allows you to be nimble and flexible and turn on a dime so that you can actually learn from mistakes.
I don't know why, but I remember a woman who I had on the radio 2006 or 7. Her name was Pamela Spratlin. I don't know if I ever told you about her. She was a remarkable woman. She was the Consul General of the United States in Vladivostok. Okay, and she was a school teacher who decided to take the Foreign Service exam, and it was the right thing for her.
Yes.
So she got to Siberia, and the first thing she did was she traveled all over Siberia. She wanted to know every inch of it. She had to understand the territory, so she could understand how to engage with it, how to make the American presence known, how to learn enough to make it valuable to send that information back home. So it sounds like that's what you're doing. Not this is Siberia. It's not that cold.
No, it's not.
But you're learning the territory.
Well, it's been wonderful. In fact, that's what I've been doing during this transition period. And so what the university has constructed with me is a traveling tour. And I am visiting the major campuses in all of these places, some of which are quite remote. So I have already visited Bangor, where we have a campus. I'm slated to visit Farmington and Presque Isle and Machias and Kent and all these places.
All these places.
Exactly, you wouldn't, but now I do, right? It's amazing.
Good.
And I'm not just visiting campuses that we have, I'm actually visiting other universities that are there, Bowdoin College and Bates and Colby and Husson University.
See it all.
And, it's just been such a fabulous welcome. So I've been visiting with the presidents and their staff and important leadership and talking about how we can collaborate to do higher education right and well in Maine and in neighboring communities, neighboring states.
So it's not limited to the law school. In fact, it's not limited to the university. It's
Exactly.
all higher education.
Exactly.
Why not?
Why not? Why not? If we're meant to serve the students are coming from everywhere, and we have to be a resource for them.
Tell me about the students in the law school. Tell me about the programs in the law school. Tell me about your new programs in the law school.
Okay, so the students, in a word, are awesome. These are some awesome folks. Let me tell you how awesome they are. I had a student come to me, and she says, are you going to the Maine Women's Fund reception? I said, absolutely. I'm really excited about going. Well, we law students have actually collected donations to donate to them because the Maine Women's Fund does advocacy on women's issues at the state legislature. They said, would you like to contribute? I said, I'll do more than contribute. I'll 2 times match whatever you donate. Because I thought, students doing the thing that really makes a difference, right?
Yeah.
Not only are they present, not only are they advocating, but donating money. Students donating money.
Yeah, that's saying something.
That's saying something. So some of the programs that we have at Maine, okay, Students Awesome, you got that? So some of the programs that are already existing in Maine are a Justice for Women lecture series, which has run anywhere from 3 days to a week. The most recent recipient of the Justice for Women lecture award was Ruchira Gupta. She runs a non-governmental organization called OPNIOP, and they help to root out sex trafficking of young girls and women in India, and she's brought her message to New York State.
Very valuable.
To the United States, to Maine. And we had a wonderful week with her, finding out what we need to learn about trafficking, that it is global and local, and that many more of our young people are susceptible to being harmed in this way than we ever imagined. So we got to look inside ourselves in Maine and say, How do we deal with this?
That's great, and it's relevant, and it's now. It's a current
Exactly.
global issue
It's
right now.
a current issue.
Yeah.
The other programs that we have at the University of Maine School of Law are a fabulous clinic. In fact, our current dean, Avi Soifer at the William S. Richardson School of Law, actually matriculated at the University of Maine
Right?
clinic when he was in law school at Yale. So he had to go to Maine to get a clinical experience.
It's not that far away.
It's not that far, but it's saying something.
It is saying something.
It's saying how wonderful the clinic experience is. And so we have a refugee and human rights clinic, a prisoner assistance clinic.
What's a clinic?
A clinic is an experience that students are granted in law schools that allow them to actually work on cases for clients.
Real cases.
Exactly. And they get to become practice ready and work ready by actually doing the tasks of a lawyer. And what's unique about Maine, among all the states in the United States, is that student lawyers are admitted to the bar to practice under the clinic.
Is that unique?
That is unique. So they
There's
can,
something to play with on that. There's a
there's
real opportunity
so much to do under that. And they've been doing it for the last 15 years. So they are good at it. And that's why our clinic attracts not only our law students, but other law students around the nation.
From Yale they come.
From Yale they come. Exactly. And
Yeah.
so we have a prisoner assistance clinic with full access to prisoners so that students can have one-on-one communications without prison staff there. So it's very important. And then we have a general practice clinic. I'm hoping to bring a transactional clinic because I want to have a business
Sure,
law.
At the end of the day, you're a business lawyer.
At the end of the day, that's my shtick. And so people are on board with it, this transactional clinic. And this actually leads us to a new project that the entire university is working on, and that's a business graduate professional center. And so the law school is going to play a major role in bringing that forward.
And the graduate programs, what do you have?
The graduate law programs that we have are general LLMs, but we also have human rights focused LLMs. We try to be as accommodating as possible, so bring whatever you want to study to our LLM and we'll make it
room,
work.
Yeah.
And so one of our wonderful faculty members, Deirdre Smith, who is the director of the clinics and professor of law, she describes it as make your own adventure.
That's what's happening, isn't it?
That's what's happening.
Law school is it's what you want.
Make it what you want.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Make your own experience.
Make it your own way.
Exactly. Have it your way.
Yeah. And you want to decide you want to change things in the world. Law school becomes a place where you can begin that effort.
That's
to make that
exactly
happen.
right. That's exactly right. It's changed me as a person for the better. It's changed my family. It's changed my outlook on my community. And I just want that for anybody who steps up and as the Wisconsin model says, who wants access.
What about international, you know? William S. Richardson has a certain amount of that. I mean, the university, by definition, has a certain amount of that. Can you, will you, are you thinking about doing that in the state of Maine?
Oh, it's already there. We have a wonderful faculty member named Charles Norkey, and that's exactly what he does. He's always off somewhere, and he is most recently returned from Geneva. So he is our international law scholar, and he gives us inroads into all these communities. And our LLMs often choose to do international human rights, or like I said, we have a clinic, a refugee and international human rights clinic. So we got it covered.
Yeah. You are a leader. You were a leader here. You're going to be a leader there, Danielle.
I'm really
wonderful.
excited.
We'll be following the action, watching you. And when you come back, you have to come back and sit in that chair.
I definitely will.
And talk to me some more.
I definitely will. It's always a pleasure to sit next to you, Jay.
It's your roots right here.
That's right. It's my people.
That's Danielle Conway. We love her. She's the Dean Designate, soon to be the Dean of Maine Law School in Portland. This is life in the law. We've been talking about it. How you get to be, how you start from law professor and you become dean. This is a good example. You've learned a lot. Now it's your turn.
All right. I like it. I like it.
Thank you, Danielle.
All right. Thank you, Jay.